Rock like a hurricane. I'ma do it like nobody can. And I'll give you all the things that nobody can. I'ma make you bounce like a hurricane.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video I'll be sharing with you guys my experiences about living in Ireland. Okay, just a little background. I moved here about 11 years ago in order to start my little family, and it's been 11 years now. I feel like a lot has happened. I've had a chance to work in this country as well as interact with the people here. I've also had the chance to undertake a tertiary education which took about 4 years to complete. I have a fair understanding of what the culture is like here and what to expect. This video would particularly be valuable for someone who is thinking about coming here, whether for study or for visit or for whatever reason. I do feel like the information that I'll be providing on here will benefit you in one way or the other, hence the reason I'm making this video. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is the obvious. Okay, so it's the weather. Okay, so now Ireland can get really cold. Okay, it does tend to rain quite a lot in Ireland. Okay, there's nothing anyone can do about it. It's just the way it is, and it's only in Ireland that you can potentially have 4 seasons in one day. I kid you not. You could wake up in the morning, sky is bright, everywhere is nice and sunny, you take out your favorite summer dress and you think that's the way the whole day is gonna go. Don't make that mistake. Listen guys, you need to be realistic. This is Ireland. It could be raining the next minute. I'm telling you, this has happened to me numerous times where I would wake up and like do a whole load of laundry and thinking, oh, it's gonna be sunny. The weatherman has said this. Listen, sometimes the weatherman is even wrong. It rains when it's not supposed to rain. You put out your laundry and the next minute you're running back out to bring everything back in. Do not be caught unawares. Make sure you invest in a good umbrella, or better still, have some hooded jacket or some hoodie of some sort whenever you're going out in order not to be caught unawares. Having said that, it's not all negative when it comes to the Irish weather. I feel like because we get quite a lot of rain here, it's added to the beautiful scenery of this country. Like everything is just so green and so fresh and just beautiful. When it comes to winter, we don't usually have that much snow here in Ireland. Actually, since I came here in 2009, I can count how many times we've had snow. But like, you know, there've been like 3 or 4 times, you know, where we had major snow. But even at that, it's child's play compared to like, you know, the sort of snow that you would find in like places like Canada and some parts of America. So in that regard, I feel like it's a positive when it comes to the Irish weather. The second thing I'm going to talk to you guys about is the language. Love the fact that Ireland speaks English as their main, you know, language of communication, although they do have their own, you know, language that is called Gaeilge. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but most people don't actually communicate in that language. I think when you go like in some, you know, counties further away from Dublin, more and more people do speak it, especially the elderly. Bear in mind that if you plan to come here to become a policeman or like to become a teacher, I want to find out the requirements, because the last time I checked, you need to have a fair understanding of the Gaeilge language before you can actually practice in this sort of profession. I've never really seen any foreigner that's in the police force or like that is a teacher, a primary school teacher, because they expect the primary school students to kind of speak Gaeilge, and you know, if you're not able to communicate in that language, how are you going to be able to like, you know, teach that to the students? So it makes sense that it's a major requirement. Now the third thing that I'm going to talk about is the food. Okay, so I'm not, you know, here to criticize Irish food. It's just me personally, being African, we like our food heavily seasoned and spiced. I just find Irish food sometimes to be a little bit too bland for myself. Sprinkling a little bit of pepper and salt does usually do the trick for me. Having said that, Irish people love their potatoes. Okay, they know how to grow it, they know how to eat it. They really love their potato, and there's hardly any dish that, you know, that doesn't go with potatoes. Whether it's chips, whether it's jacket potato, whether it's shepherd's pie, they put it in every single meal. Okay, enjoy eating the Irish stew, although I still have to spice it quite a bit, you know, to suit my Africanized taste buds. Still on the topic of food, Irish people really love their tea. Okay? A cup of tea solves every single problem. That's what it looks like. If someone is feeling down, if feeling unwell, you're gonna ask them, would you like a cup of tea? If someone visits you, you would be offered a cup of tea, okay? Another thing that I'm going to talk about is Irish people are really big on slangs, okay? They love their slangs. You're going to be hearing things like, oh, what's the crack, okay? So what's the crack basically means what's up, like what's going on, you know, that's just what it means. When I first came, I was like, crack? What cracked? You know, but it began to make sense then. So if you hear that, they're just asking you what's up. Another thing that you'd maybe hearing a lot is like you're one. Whenever they say you're one is like, oh, that lady or that woman or whatever, and your man is like your man or whatever, however they say it, is like, you know, that man or something like that. Another thing they say a lot is like, oh, it's grand, that means it's actually okay, it's fine, you know. I've actually borrowed some of these slangs and I do use them occasionally in my conversation. Irish people also say like a lot. Oh, like, it's not like it's this, it's not like that, it's not like you're gonna do this, it's like, so a lot of likes in the language. That's how you know an Irish person is talking. Now another thing that I'm gonna be talking about is tipping, right? So here in Ireland, especially if you're coming from like the likes of America or Canada, you're under no obligation whatsoever to tip people whenever you go to eat in a restaurant, okay? So if you go to eat in a restaurant here and you're feeling extra generous and you're feeling really satisfied with the quality of service that you were provided with, it's up to you to decide. More like, you know, it's mandatory here, but anyway, you don't have to worry about that if you do plan to move here or if you do plan to visit here at some point. Another thing I'm going to talk about is the snakes, okay? How am I going to forget the snakes? Listen guys, there are no snakes, there are no mosquitoes in Ireland. You need not worry about things like that. These two things, guys, is probably the best thing about Ireland, okay? There are two schools of thoughts regarding why there are no snakes found in Ireland. One school of thoughts holds that it's probably because the patron saint, which is St. Patrick's, chased the snakes out of the country years ago. I don't know how true that is. The second school of thought has it that due to the unfavorable climate conditions in Ireland, snakes are unable to survive here. So I don't know, Irish people, can you help me out in the comment section? I just want to understand exactly why there are no snakes in Ireland. The second thing that I'm going to talk about is mosquitoes, okay? If you're from Nigeria or even Africa, you know for a fact that mosquitoes are a major problem. Not only that, you stand the risk of getting malaria. I haven't had malaria in years. In fact, over 11 to 12 years that I left Nigeria, and that is something that gives me great joy. I don't have to worry about the mosquito. Is it the noise that they make, or is it the actual bite, or is it the malaria? There's nothing to like about mosquitoes. In terms of Irish people generally, I've heard a lot of questions, you know, people asking me, is it a racist country? Is it how are the people generally? Generally speaking, I wouldn't say that the racism here is that bad at all. It's like everywhere in the world, like there's some form of racism or the other. I wouldn't say that is worse in Ireland, because think about it, this whole multicultural thing is all new to Ireland. Up until 30 years ago, I don't think that, you know, there were this many foreigners, so they're still wrapping their heads around the whole thing. Racial tolerance is also beginning to be taught in schools, in like primary schools and secondary schools. So I feel like the more awareness there is on this topic, the more people would be more enlightened and you know, be more tolerant and respectful of other people's races and culture. So yeah, it's not too bad. Although I've had a few comments, you know, nothing major, like, oh, when are you going back to your country? Go back to your country, or things like that, but nothing major. I haven't really experienced any major racism here. So that's it. It's not too bad. That's all I can say. So another thing I want to mention is attitudes of the people in Ireland towards LGBT community. It's actually really positive. I feel like Ireland is among one of the most liberal in the world, and this is according to Wikipedia. Same-sex marriage is allowed here in this country, is legal. I just the citizens are allowed to, like, you know, make their lifestyle choices and just live according to their beliefs. So that's something that is worth mentioning. Another thing worth mentioning is that the violence and crime rates is quite low, and this is area dependent. Obviously, it's like everywhere else. There's gonna be some, you know, one or two dodgy places where you want to hold your handbag really tightly, you know, if you're going around those areas. But generally speaking, it's very, very safe here. I've had to take twilight shifts every now and then, and I will come back home on my own without any problem. No one bothers you on the road. It's extremely safe. It's such a safe country, and that's something that I really, really like about Ireland. Another thing that is worth mentioning is the maternity and paternity leave. I feel like Ireland are quite generous when it comes to this. Okay, you get maternity pay for like 6 months, and you're free to take additional 6 months unpaid if you wish, if you feel like you need more time with your child. Additionally, fathers can now get 2 weeks paternity leave as well. I think that this is just awesome, especially if you have kids. You understand the benefits of this. So Ireland is very generous in that regard. I know that places in like the United States, it's only about, is it 6 weeks or 7 weeks or something of that nature, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. Even in Nigeria, I think it's about 3 months paid or something of that nature. So I think it's really generous, you know, here, the maternity leave and paternity leave. This is something that really, really makes me happy, because whenever you have a child, it's really, really a very challenging period, and you need to take enough time off work to be able to like get your acts together, you know, so you can return back to work whenever you're ready. So additionally, I forgot to add what the cost of living is like here. Generally speaking, when it comes to like groceries, I think that the cost of living isn't that bad. It's on the average, it's, you know, at par with like most European countries. With the existence of supermarkets such as Aldi and Lidl, you know, food items are now significantly affordable. However, if you do tend to shop in like expensive or higher end supermarkets, say like Super Value or like Marks and Spencer, it does really add up. When it comes to the rent, I feel like rent is just relative and is dependent on where you are. Okay, so in Dublin, obviously, as with other cities around the world, you would expect rents to be quite high, but I feel like the rent in Dublin right now is just ridiculous. It's really, really expensive. People can barely afford it. People could be paying over $2,000 or even 3,000 in a 2-bed apartment in Dublin, depending on the location. I think this is absolutely insane. Obviously, the further away you move from Dublin, the cheaper the rent gets. But then again, even now, it's getting more and more difficult to get even accommodation. I've had people queuing and waiting, you know, to just even to view one house. You could see like 50 people waiting to view accommodation. There's shortage of housing at the moment. I feel like the construction industry is really at its lowest at the moment, and this has contributed to a lot of housing problems. Yeah, I couldn't tell you exactly what the rent is, because it just depends on where you are. With that, I've come to the end of this video. I do hope that you found this video helpful in some way, and if you did, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more videos like this. Until next time, I'll see you in my next video.
Like a hurricane, I'ma make your bed rock like a hurricane. I'ma do it like nobody can, and I'll give you all the things that nobody can. I'ma make you bounce like a hurricane. I'ma make your bed rock like a hurricane. I'ma do it like nobody can, and I'll give you all the things that nobody can.
Standard.
Hurricane, ooh, yeah, I want to meet you.